In this November edition of our market summary, I'll focus on what has happened to our domestic wheat market and take a look forward, then briefly cover the oilseed market. While the domestic wheat market slid in October, throughout November, the May 19 UK wheat futures market has in general mostly tracked sideways. However, as Brexit negotiations and discussions have been ongoing and we get closer to leaving the EU, the uncertainty has made the value of the pound quite volatile. For much of this month, the currency impact has been more obvious. While the full impact of the Brexit negotiations are by no means certain or indeed over, Brexit will continue to impact our domestic market and currency will remain an important watch factor as any EU divorce agreement is decided upon. But looking further afield, one of the key factors I'm keeping an eye on will be how the global export market might shift. So far again this season, Russia has been the predominant global wheat exporter, which has to an extent kept a lid on markets. The export pace this season has again been in line with Russia's record export campaign of last year, with a highly competitive wheat origin dominating many of the world's major wheat tenders. However, the percentage of the export campaign reached by this point in the season has seen a quicker relative drawdown of the available crop, and as a fraction of total expected exports, around a month ahead of the pace set last year. This would suggest that Russia will be unable to maintain this export pace throughout the season, so a slowdown may very well be expected from this large exporter. The fast export pace so far this season may well have been incentivised by suspicions that export restrictions could have been implemented. However, there have been no such official announcements, although this could all change. The halts at port facilities continue to make the headlines, and regardless of their actual significance. With US and EU wheat export pace lacking so far this season, a slowdown in Russian exports could open the door to other exporters and remove some of the pressure that wheat markets have been under. Although, of course, there will need to be a need to remain globally competitive in order to do so. So while there's still a long time to go on the current crop, and with all the Brexit uncertainty, if we look to next season, there may still be a good opportunity for UK farmers to consider forward selling. Although the new crop NOV19 wheat futures contract also slipped in October, it still remains well above prices seen in previous years at this point in time prior to harvest, and could provide some certainty in what may otherwise be rather uncertain times. If we take a brief look at oilseed markets, then like wheat, European oilseed markets also moved somewhat sideways recently, trading within a relatively tight range, and currency again being one of the significant factors. Domestically for rapeseed delivered to Erith, the UK market has been somewhat flat, with a range of just £4 for November delivery quoted over the last couple of months. But as we move towards December, the market has come under a little more pressure, as in pound terms, the benchmark Paris rapeseed futures contracts have continued to drift. Yet while the rapeseed market appears to have been flat or indeed drifting, there have been some interesting changes to the Paraseed rapeseed futures market. Highlighted is the change in market carry between the February and May contract over the last few weeks. At the start of November, the May contract was trading below the February contract. But this is now reversed, as the nearby contract has been under greater pressure. It's also worth noting, while looking at market carry, is the discount to next season's crop, which has now narrowed. Supporting the new crop futures market and reducing the discount have been expected reductions to the rapeseed area and conditions for planting and the establishment of oilseed rape crops across Europe, which have been less than perfect. The French area is now forecast to be down around 30%, and here in the UK, we also expect a small contraction in the area for harvest 19. So for oilseed markets, to me, there are a couple main watch factors for the UK. Firstly, the Brexit implications for the value of the pound, and secondly, how impacted has next season's EU rapeseed production been. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or wish to get in contact, the email address is in the description below.